Arsenal might just have a trick up their sleeve. They could be about to unleash something that so many fans have wanted to see for such a long period of time. We've also finally got a Martin Odegaard update. I want to speak to you guys on that because we can run through exactly the games that Martin Odegaard is set to miss. I also want to speak about the squad in general. Also, Ben White, Fabio Vieira, so many things to touch on in this video. Before we get into it though, I'm going to ask you one thing just very quickly. If you could, just hit like on this video. So, I always like to start with a question, and the question that I'm going to start with today, I will of course give you my opinion in a couple of minutes, but I want you guys to let me know, is Arsenal's squad too small? Do you look at Arsenal's squad right now and think this squad is too small to get us through the season? I want you to let me know in the comment section. Right, so the first place we're actually going to start is, what is this secret weapon that they could unleash? What have so many fans been crying out for? I think it's Zinchenko in midfield. And I think we can now actually bring Timber into that debate. For so long, I've seen so many people in my comment section saying, why is Zinchenko never being given a chance in midfield by Mikel Arteta? And I kind of always reply by saying, I just don't think he fancies him in that position. But if there was ever going to be a time that Mikel Arteta decides to pull the trigger and use Zinchenko in one of those midfield roles, like this weekend is the perfect opportunity. I've always said when people have mentioned previously that they want to see Zinchenko in the middle of the park, I've always kind of said I don't think he has enough tenacity. I don't think defensively he's good enough to play that position. But, you know, I might be in the minority there. So many people think he has attributes that could complement that central midfield role. Now, in terms of, like, if I'm just looking at the player, I mean, technically, he is very, very good. And it might sound weird, but I would actually, with Zinchenko's attributes, I probably would prefer him in the 10 to an 8. Now, I'm not saying I would put him there, but if I'm looking at what Zinchenko is good at, I like quick feet, good passing, like very, very technical. For me, he would suit the number 10 position better. And then you have to ask yourself the question, is he better in that position than Kai Havertz? And for me, I don't think the answer can be yes. I think Kai Havertz complements that position way more than Zinchenko does. I know some people would disagree with me, so if you're one of those people, let me know. Do you think Zinchenko can play 10? Do you think Zinchenko can play in that 8 position? We've heard people like Odegaard, when he's been asked to describe Zinchenko in one word, he used the word messy. So, like, he's obviously seen something in Zinchenko, or Zinchenko's got this nickname behind the scenes. Like, he must be very, very good. I've heard someone else come out and say, actually, that Zinchenko is the most technical player at the whole of Arsenal. So there must be something in that. So, like I said, I wouldn't be opposed to playing Zinchenko in midfield. If there was ever going to be a game that you do play him in midfield, then I can see why it would be this weekend. Again, for me, I probably wouldn't. Yuri and Timber, again, many people saying he was played in this position at Ajax. He can play the position. And to me, I would say, look, I haven't seen him in that position, so I can't pass judgment on it just yet. All I can base it on is what I've seen from Yuri and Timber so far. And if I'm looking at the player, I really, really like him. But he's not shown enough to me so far to show that he can play that position, especially in a North London derby. I don't think you can throw him straight into the midfield position. We've seen him play at left back, and he does invert into that midfield position, which is kind of the Zinchenko role. And he hasn't impressed me massively while doing that. Now, obviously, I'm not writing him off. I'm not passing judgment too early, because he's basically played 3 games. He missed the whole of last season. So I'm not saying he won't be able to do that. All I'm saying is, based off the evidence given so far by Yuri and Timber, I wouldn't feel comfortable with him playing in them central midfield roles. Like I said, when I put out the video yesterday asking people to name their midfield threes, it was kind of, not shocking, but I was kind of surprised or interested by the fact that so many people had either included Timber or Zinchenko in their midfield roles. So if you are one of those people, let me know. Like, why do you think they can play well in those positions? Or is it just because we're light in them areas and we need the numbers? Like I said in yesterday's video, I still think the midfield that Mikel Arteta will go for will be Partey, Jorginho and Havertz. I'd be surprised if he doesn't go with that midfield, in fact. Does it lack legs? Yes. Is it ideal? No. Is it what I think he's going to go for? Yes. So many people would go extra attacking, and they'd go, from what I'm seeing, they would put Partey and Havertz and Trossard. That seems to be a very popular opinion. Partey in the 6, Havertz in the 8, and then Trossard in the 10. That would be very attacking. And if your intention in this North London derby is to go away to Tottenham and just score as many goals as possible, then I kind of understand it. But for me, I don't use Zinchenko in that midfield position, but I can see why so many people are interested in using him. And to be fair, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Like I said, if there was ever going to be a game for Zinchenko to be given a chance in that position, then okay, it would be this weekend. And if we are going to try it, okay, I'd be interested to see if it works out. Because you don't know until you know. And like Zinchenko was played there for Ukraine yesterday. He played in central midfield. So this is a central midfield player. Like he's played there so many times. So Zinchenko can do it. And like I said, if Arteta decides he's the guy to play in midfield this weekend, then I would be interested to see it. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on it. So next, we have a Martin Odegaard update. And it's not bulletproof. Like what the guy's saying, the doctor of Norway come out and he said, look, best case scenario is 3 weeks. It doesn't look like there's a fracture from the MRI or it's not broken or anything like that. So that is good news. That means we can basically rule out a 3 or 4 month stint on the sideline for Martin Odegaard, which is brilliant. But even three weeks, that's a lot of time to miss. Just listen to some of the games that Martin Odegaard will still miss in that 3-week period, okay? So obviously he's going to miss Spurs, Atlanta, Champions League, Man City, then you got the Bolton game, which he probably wouldn't have featured in anyway. But then you got Leicester, PSG, Southampton. That's only if he misses 3 weeks. So there's still 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games that Martin Odegaard will miss, even if he only misses 3 weeks. Like that was put forward as a best case scenario. Let me know your guys' thoughts on that. Do you think like Martin Odegaard will be back in 3 weeks? I guess none of us know, but I'm hoping it is just 3 weeks, because if he's out any longer than that, then you start missing some other games as well, and it gets very, very tricky. We know how important it is to keep winning these games, and we need Martin Odegaard back as quick as possible. Right, so I'm going to give you my opinion on the squad size. Is the squad size too small? Like I said, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Coming out of the transfer window, I made a video, and I showed and detailed and literally showed you guys why the squad in general is stronger this season than it is last season. Like, I don't think that can be debated. I think the squad is stronger. The only thing that people can come back to me and put a valid argument in is that we've got less numbers. And if that's the argument, then okay, I understand it. We probably are slightly short on numbers, if I'm being honest. Like I said, we swapped 2 players for Raheem Sterling. We know Nketiah and Nelson went out. So I get it. Like, ideally, Arsenal would have signed 1 or 2 more. And we do need to remember that we're still building this squad. I know nobody wants to hear that. I know everybody wants Arsenal to be the finished product. But unfortunately, we're not there yet. We do still need to bring in more players. And people are saying, how much money do you want? You've spent 600, 800, whatever the number is, million since Arteta's been in charge. And I understand. But the fact is, we're chasing Man City. Regardless of the amount of money spent, regardless of everything else, we're still chasing a Man City side that at the minute, you have to say, is far stronger than Arsenal in terms of depth. I think in terms of starting 11, it's questionable. They will have some good players in their combined 11. We could have some players in the combined 11. Our starting 11s are very close in terms of ability, in my opinion. But when you look at the squad size, I get it. Like, you look on their bench and it's frightening at times. I remember last season, Man City was playing in a Premier League game, and just on their bench, they had Kyle Walker, Bernardo Silva, Haaland and De Bruyne. And I was thinking, what is everyone else meant to do when you're coming across teams like this? Like, it's very difficult to outbuy them. Like, they've had these kind of owners in for 10, 15 years. We know the breaches or the things that are looming over Man City, and their day will come. But for now, we just got to try and catch them in the best way possible. People get frustrated that we can't go and spend 400 million every single summer, and they try and put down Kroenke, Edu, and say he's not spending enough. But if you haven't got the money to spend, or there's restrictions in place to not allow you to do that, like I see it used as an excuse to beat them so many times, the fact that they didn't go out and spend a striker. We don't know the situation behind the scenes. That's all I would say. I would love it if Arsenal went out and got a Victor Gyökeres, or if we pulled off the Benjamin Sesko deal. We don't know what's coming next summer. We had a net spend this summer of, I think, something crazy like 22 million. So that leads us in good shape to go and spend in the next transfer window. Again, I understand it's not what people want to hear. Everybody wants the shiny toys now, like we need it now. They think now was the perfect time to capitalise, and I get it. But it didn't happen, so we've got to now focus on trying to catch a Man City team that just seems relentless. Is our squad size too small? Yes, probably. But only if you get the injuries. Without the injuries, then our squad size isn't too small. Like last season, we was very lucky with injuries. Like if you asked our team, our squads, was it too small last season? Then you'd say no, because we didn't have the injuries. Unfortunately, when you do have a small squad size, you do leave yourself open that if you get a few injuries, you're going to get caught short. And that's exactly the position Arsenal were in at the minute. Declan Rice is suspended. That's looking more of a stupid second yellow card the more time goes on. Like the more you have to kind of focus on it and say, was that really necessary? I understand it was a bad decision. He never should have been sent off, but he still shouldn't have kicked the ball away. That, like, I don't know. Anyway, we've been through that so many times. But our squad size probably is too small. But we're just going to have to deal with it. Hopefully, Odegaard comes back quickly. We need Marino back. We still haven't been able to see him play. I think next week when Declan Rice comes back, then it will obviously change things slightly, because then you've got another big, strong player in there. And that's exactly what Arsenal are missing for this game on Sunday. Next, I just want a quick word on Ben White. There's so many stories coming out today on Ben White. The fact that Carsley come out and said that, oh, as far as I'm concerned, Ben White doesn't want to be selected. I've seen so many people give their opinions on it. And my opinion is, like, it's not up to Ben White to contact England and say that he's available. Some people don't agree with it, and I've seen people give their opinion and say Ben White should ring them and say he's available. But if it was me, say if I got given the managerial position at England, I would want to contact my best players. So if that means me reaching out to Ben White and saying, hello, Ben, how you doing? Like, this is exactly the conversation I would have. Ben, how you doing, mate? It's Lee. I just wanted to check. Last time we heard, you wasn't available for selection, but I'm coming in now. I've got a different kind of idea, a different approach. I just wanted to know if you would be available for these upcoming fixtures coming up for England. That's the only call he had to make. And Ben White could have said no or yes. And then there's your answer. But the response he gave to the media was, well, the last thing I heard, Ben White doesn't want to be picked. He's kind of carrying on the same negative attitude that Southgate had towards him. Like, if I was going into a new position, I wouldn't listen to whoever held the position before me and take everything they said as 100%. I would listen to all parties and make my own decision. So I would still ring Ben White in that situation and say, hello, Ben, just want to see how you're getting on, mate. Are you still available for selection? And the fact that Carsley's not doing that is crazy to me. Now, I prefer it if I'm being honest. As an England fan, I want the best players available. But as an Arsenal fan, I'm saying, well, that's one more player that we get rested in these international fixtures. I don't know. I just thought it was weird for Carsley to come out and make those comments, to basically put it on Ben White and say, look, it's your responsibility to let me know when you're available. I just thought that was a bit of a petty comment. Let me know your guys' thoughts on it. And if you was the England manager, would you pick Ben White? Because for me, it's a no-brainer. Next, I just want to finish on Fabio Vieira and Lokonga. Two players we've loaned out, and they're both injured as well. I don't know what it is. There must be something in the water. Well, you can't even say that now, because even players that are going abroad, out on loan, are getting injured. It's crazy. Arsenal have not been this unlucky with injuries for as long as I can remember. I can't remember the last time we had so many players out with injury. I don't even know what to say about it. I just wanted to bring you the news that it's coming in that Fabio Vieira and Lokonga are now injured as well. Madness. So some people saying that Fabio Vieira could have helped us out in this game. Unfortunately not, because he's injured anyway. I don't know, but let me know your guys' thoughts on everything you've heard in this video. Zinchenko and Timber, are they good enough? Are they ready to play in midfield for this game against Tottenham? Let me know in the comment section. And Odegaard, 1 month injury. It could be 3 weeks. It could be a month. Let me know your thoughts on that. Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go, if you could just do me a favor, like I said, it's absolutely free. All I ask is you hit like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.